Hello, 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 hello. Hey, everyone. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get started in a little bit. I'm just setting up some stuff over here. Going to grab some water, and we'll just get started in about a minute or two. About like 10:55 is probably going to be the start date, or start time. And yeah, we're going to do a quick little Catwoman drawing tonight, just to kind of get back into the swing of things. So yeah, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Baby, I'm a broken man, I'm just a shattering storm. Baby, try to find my way as the lonely shadows swarm. Whoa, 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 I'm just a man, missing you, please understand. Without you, I'm dying. No one will know how I bear my pain alone. In the end, I choose my solitude. No, I can go back to my days of innocence. I can't go back, there is no return. Under the cycle of seasons, this passes by yet I cannot wonder, I wonder just where you are now. I have remembered when that you are different and that you are yet more beautiful than before. Whoa, whoa, if you say that you are happier now and that's just the way you feel about everything now, well then I guess it's just the way that it is.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the stream for the night of November 17th, 2021, Wednesday. Welcome to Work in Progress Wednesdays, where we take a piece of art that we have started already or are about to start, and we just keep working on it. Nothing more special than that. I'm your host, PXB Art. Hello, hi, nice to meet you. Hi, thank you for joining me today. And I'm here with my brand new co-host, this little lovely stream deck. Give it a nice round of applause, everyone. I no longer have to fidget around with a web browser to kind of get these nice sound effects. It's we had a good time before, but I prefer to just have these things at my fingertips instead of like scrolling around with the mouse button. Yeah, I guess. And I'm glad you're here joining me. Yep, hey. And as I said before, I'm your host, PXB Art. Hello. Known professionally as Peter Blanco, among more professional, less internet-y circles. I'm an animator, illustrator, 3D artist, currently with CBS Sports and a few other places. And the reason why I've been streaming is because I've been working for those few other places for the past month or so, just really busy right after my day job. And then I just took a bit of a break from everything for about 2 weeks, and that felt great. I'll tell you. I was planning on streaming during that time, but then I was just like, I just kind of want to sit down and play video games or just kind of chill out, hang out, work out, go for a run, lift some weights, relax, sleep in, go to bed early, then wake up late the next day. And yeah, it's just fun times, But yeah, thanks for joining me here tonight. If you're watching this live or on the archive, thank you very much. Your attendance is very much appreciated. Thank you for joining me, 3Go Booster. I see you there in the chat. Yeah, hey everyone, how's it going? We got a new stream deck here, courtesy of my wife. Hey, so shout outs to her, Junibug, on Instagram. So give her a follow for all your K-pop needs. She's a huge Astro fan, and check her out on there. But yeah, where were we? Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining me here tonight. I'm just gonna turn on a little bit of music here, just to kind of keep things moving and kind of keep things chilling. As I mentioned before, super busy month of November, month of October. I had originally planned to do like some 3D art, and I had actually done one stream where I was actually 3D modeling and stuff. That's just been put on hold for a bit because like right after I started that, I had to do a bunch of work for Sling TV. Pretty much right after work, and then I had a really big project to do at my day job, which kind of required me to work later than I usually would, work on weekends, which is something I don't normally do for CBS. And and pretty much, then once I got out from there, I was doing some other freelance stuff on the side to, just kind of keep my skill sharps and kind of keep my portfolio a little diverse. But yeah. If you tuned in to CBS Sports Network, we celebrated Native American Heritage Month, and we did a nice little animation for that. Actually, let me try pulling that up. I should actually. So I'll go ahead and pull that up on the old timeline here. That way you guys can see something that I did for the day job. And it's something a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it. And generally I'm actually pretty proud of the final product. So I'm just gonna hold my microphone here. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off the music for a sec, and then go to our animation. Let's see, there you go. And we're just gonna hit play and give that a watch. So thanks for watching this. Whoop, Wrong play button.
It was the beginning of time when Skywoman fell from the sky onto the turtle's back. She brought with her the seeds of life, strength, medicine, song, dance, and sports. For the Haudenosaunee, the creator's game is not only a game, but an act of healing, unity, and conflict resolution. Sports came from indigenous peoples across all directions on Turtle Island. Despite 500 plus years of colonization, sports continue to be played on our lands and territories, now a tradition shared by others across the world. For our indigenous youth, athletics teach discipline, sacrifice, commitment, and community. From Olympic gold medalist Jim Thorpe to Rinaldi Becenti, Rosalie Fish, and Kyrie Irving, sports thread healing and wellness among our people and connect us to the natural world. We join CBS Sports in celebrating indigenous athletes of the past, present, and future. Indigenous athletes.
Yeah, so we're just going to give that a little pause right there. Thank you for watching that with me. As I said before, this is an animation that we did together as a team of about 4 of us. My colleague Zach did most of the 3D work. I did a lot of the 2D animation and assets stuff. We'll just kind of scrub through it so I can tell you what exactly I did. So this like little animation here of the woman forming and kind of falling into place. So I worked on this part. And her kind of standing up and doing these little energy ball things. I did that. And then I did this part, this sequence here with the bead art. I actually animated these patterns in Photoshop and applied it onto and my colleague Zach applied it onto a 3D model of a bead sheet. So yeah, so pretty much I had to like kind of go in and animate this frame by frame. It was like very much kind of like animating a like an Atari game or something. Yeah, it's very kind of reminiscent of sprite art. This part actually took me like a few days to complete. You know, we kind of kept things a little choppy, a little framey, just to kind of convey that, like, you know, here's the sun, here's this nice pattern that emerges. Then we have a little demonstration of the game, which is lacrosse, which, by the way, Native Americans invented lacrosse. So that's where that kind of comes from. My colleague Jason did this part. Again, Zach did 3D, this kind of wood texture. He built that as a 3D object, built the texture, gave it like, you know, a nice little edge. My colleague Jason illustrated these little kind of these guys here and animated them. I did the animation for this part of these guys kind of lining up to form a turtle. Also worked a bit on this little animation where it kind of breaks down and turns into a map of North America. And then I did corrections for this shot, these kind of pottery shots here, where we have like these murals on. I'd originally done illustrations for these, but they were kind of like more, they were closer to like this kind of style. But we ultimately decided not to do that, so my colleague Jason did some more detailed drawings, and those were applied as displacement maps, as you can see. It's like kind of indented in there. It's kind of looks like it's chiseled. So that's what he did. He did these drawings. Colleague Zach did the 3D modeling. I did the lighting for this thing. A little kind of flickering, kind of. You'll see it better when it's like kind of like in motion.
From Olympic gold medalist Jim Thorpe to Rinaldi
So I did like the lighting and the rendering of this scene.
Sports thread healing and wellness among our people and connect us
and
to
then,
the world.
yeah. Then we have this scene. My our art director Carlos did this. He animated this by himself,
Join CBS Sports and
along with
celebrate
that,
Indigenous athletes of
and
the
that's kind
past.
of the call of action. And that's what my month of October was like. Getting this done in a matter of like 2 weeks. Yeah, and like there's a lot of changes that kind of went into it. A lot of thoughts, a lot of discussion about like which symbols and which kind of styles were appropriate and not stereotypical. We had a a consultant who actually helped, who a Native American consultant who came spoke to us. Very nice guy. Um, his name's here at the top of the piece. Sosokete. Sosokete. His name, or we just called him Roger. That was his English name. But yeah, he goes by Sosokete as well. And yeah, and he does the narration for this piece. If you heard. But yeah, that's what I did for October, and then I did a bunch of stuff for slang, which is a lot more boring. I could pull that up if you guys want, but I don't think that's very exciting to watch. It's just like kind of like, oh hey, we have this sale going on, save $5 on blah blah blah. But yeah, but this thing was kind of this is I like how this came out, and I have to give a presentation on it next week at work. So wish me luck on that. Hopefully I'm speak a little more smoothly on that than I do here. So yeah, let's turn the music back on because kind of sitting here in awkward silence is never really fun. Anywho, so let's what are we doing tonight? What are we doing in life in general? We could talk about what's going on in the world, um, personal life wise. My parents got sick with COVID, like right when I went on vacation, so I had to help them out with that because they're also in the middle of a move. Luckily, they're okay now. They're vaccinated. They got the Johnson & Johnson vaccination back in April or March. But yeah, but they, I've been telling my mom like, hey, you should really go for the booster. She didn't want to, and then boom, she was hanging out with some unvaccinated people who were maskless, and yeah, lo and behold, she got sick. She got sick. My dad got sick, and yeah, they got each other sick, and we're basically like, yeah, just throwing up, just kind of, you know, throwing up, flu-like symptoms. They felt like crap for a week, and yeah, I mean, luckily, because of the vaccination, they did not need to be hospitalized. They did not need to go on a ventilator. Thank goodness that they were pretty much okay, and they're okay now. They're just waiting for their quarantine to end, which doctors told them to, like, yeah, observe a quarantine for like 90 days. But anywho, so that was my vacation, and like yeah, like I said, they're in the middle of a move. Been helping my mom kind of move stuff out of their home, out of their old home. So I kind of had to take point on that while she was sick. So yeah, had that to deal with. What else? Personal news. Good news. I got a PS5 finally. I one became available on Amazon, and yeah, I just went for it, and I was surprised that it stayed in my cart and that I was able to actually do a checkout on it. Because normally I add it to the cart, go all the way to checkout, go all the way to like the final step, and then have it tell me like, nah, this thing's no longer in stock. Lol. And I'd be like, no, fuck you, scalpers. And yeah, but oh well. Finally got it. Got a few games for it. I had Miles Morales since last year. I got it for PS4, so I finally played it, and then played it on PS5 instead. Um, played a little bit of Astro's Playroom. There's a lot of people out there who have played full playthroughs of that, including my good friend SimperX. So check him out if you want to see a full playthrough of Astro's Playroom. I was gonna do that, but yeah, you don't want to watch me play. You don't want to watch me play that. What else? Got Miles, got Astro. Everyone has Astro because it comes with the system. Got Ratchet and Clank, the new one. Have not touched that yet because I've actually never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so I'm actually playing that remake of the first one that came out in like 2016 or so. 2016, 2017, one of those years. So I'm playing that one first. And that one is still really gorgeous and holds up and looks really good. Gameplay wise, it feels like a PS2 game. Because yeah, it's a remake of a PS2 game. Lots of like, oh yeah, go around, collect this, go around, like, you know, you're in like a little mini open area, so go talk to this guy, get a mission objective, and then go do the thing and come back. So a lot of that. But the game looks gorgeous though. On the PS5, because I had a launch model PS4, not the Pro model, so I know with the Pro there's a bit more horsepower for it with it, so you can actually get a lot of PS4 games up to like 60 FPS, or you could do not ray tracing. I don't think it does ray tracing, but it does HDR lighting, and that looks really gorgeous on a 4K HDR screen, which I now have. And that's the reason why I never got a PS4 Pro, because I never had a 4K HDR monitor or TV, so I always thought like, what's the point of doing that if it's just gonna, you know, it's gonna look the same. But yeah, but now I'm playing that on the nicer TV, and I'm playing it on the nicer system with more horsepower, playing these PS4 games, and boy, they look good, and they don't stutter, and they load pretty decently quickly. And yeah, I'm enjoying the PS5 so far. And yeah, I also have Ghost of Tsushima, which I started playing, which again is a PS4 game, now playing on PS5. And that game is, well, that game is gorgeous. I think I have yet to play a PS5 game that's ugly. I was gonna say like Astro's is pretty simple, but like even Astro in its simplicity, it looks great. Just the attention to detail on everything, the lighting, the HDR, the design just looks gorgeous. It's just, man, I cannot. Like everything looks good. It's just like everything is just kind of given like, oh hey, artists, here, you just have everything at your disposal now. You don't have to worry about polygon count, or like, you know, if the machine's fast enough, like, you know, it can handle most things that you can throw at it without slowing down or whatever. And yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, gorgeous particle effects, lighting, HDR. Character models are more or less okay, but like, you know, it's just that they're lit really well, they're animated really well, everything runs smoothly, 60 FPS, and yeah. Kind of want to play Death Stranding next, and I just ordered a Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade in the mail, so that should be arriving by the weekend. I'll get to that eventually. And on top of that, like, yeah, I sold off a bunch of my retro games. I had like a bunch of GameCube games, PS2 games that I didn't need anymore. Hey, Captain Yusarian, how's it going? Death Stranding equals walking simulator. Yeah, it's Death Stranding is, I played like an hour of it. Hour or two of it when it was on PS4 when it first came out. And yeah, it's like you walk everywhere, you have like these packages, and then it's not just a walking simulator, it is a keep your balance while walking simulator. So yeah, so you have to, like, you know, you're just kind of walking, you just gotta tap L1 and R1 every now and then to kind of make sure you don't tip over and drop all your shit. And I don't know, I might be like it seems like the general kind of consensus on that game is kind of shifted, especially post-COVID, because it seems to have like and Kojima did it again, where he predicted a world where hey, everyone's gonna be just inside, everyone's just gonna be like disconnected from each other. So it's up to the postman, the Amazon guy, the delivery guy, to go and get everyone what they need. Amazon delivery simulator, exactly. So yeah, in the winter of, was it 2018, 2019, right before COVID happened, he's like, yeah, the world's gonna be like this. And then everyone's like, shut the fuck up. You're so crazy, Kojima. Then 2020 happened. And yeah, I guess the world's in a place right now where like everyone who was kind of shitting on it back then, myself included, has decided to kind of give this game another shot, especially with the release of the director's cut. People are like, yeah, you know what? Maybe it wasn't so bad. Even someone whose opinion that I pretty regularly align with his opinion. Dan Reichert, formerly of Giant Bomb, currently of Fire Escape and WWE, and he has his own Twitch channel. Him and we actually oddly enough have like a lot of kind of overlap in like games that like whatever I like and he likes, they usually kind of mingle under the same. He's a really big Metal Gear fan, so am I. He grew up with like a Saturn and a Genesis and like a Sega kid, so did I. He likes Dreamcast. So yeah, him being a really big Metal Gear fan and myself being a really big Metal Gear fan, had a kind of like an idea of what we're kind of expecting out of like Kojima's new game, Death Stranding. And like I know myself, I wasn't expecting like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like one-to-one to Metal Gear, gonna like do stealth sections, and it's gonna be a really good action game and whatever. But you kind of like, you didn't expect exactly that, but you kind of expected something close to that. And then it was its own thing, and it kind of took me aback, and I just lost interest. Apparently, it gets really good in the middle, and then it kind of drops off again at the end. But I have to give that a shot. But hey, if you want to watch a full playthrough of that game, again, check out Simper_X on Twitch and YouTube. He has a full playthrough of that game, so check him out. I don't think I'll be playing it on stream because, like, yeah, like I do not. Hey, this is my first stream in like a month, and yeah, like as you can tell, I'm super inconsistent about these things. Let's see, what else? Beat Yakuza 5 finally. That's a fucking long game. I spent like 90 hours on Yakuza 5. And while I'm glad I played it, I'm glad I played Yakuza 5. And like, yep, it's done. 90 hours, all done. I kind of came away with it with a kind of bitter taste in my mouth, I think. Like, I was not so hot on the story, because the story did not really make a ton of sense. I don't want to get into too many spoilers, because I don't know if anyone eventually wants to play Yakuza 5 on that's paying attention to this. But yeah. The only thing I'll say is, which, like, this is not really a spoiler, but, like, you have 4 playable characters with 4 playable characters in the game. And what the game does is that it gives you a character, you kind of do their story, it stops on a cliffhanger, then it starts again on another story, but then you're playing an all new character that has like all new moves, a whole different play style, and they're like at level 0. So if you want to do any sort of like grinding or leveling up, you got to start from the beginning again. And it gives you all sorts of tutorials, like every like 10 to 15 hours, probably even more, like 20 hours, you're given a new character and you're basically starting the game over again from scratch. And by like the 5th character because like, yeah, there's what, Kiryu, Saejima, Akiyama, Haruka, and face. I even forgot his name. Taijiman? Baseball guy. Throughout the game I was just calling him Yamcha because he's like kind of like it's kind of like a shitty dirtbag that is always like broke and he plays baseball, but he's really good at baseball. So I just called him Yamcha during my playthrough of that. And it's gonna bother me that I don't know his name off the top of my head. Yeah, but every like 15 to 20 hours you kind of start the game over again. And then you start over on a whole new story that doesn't really have anything to do with what came before it. But at the end, you're kind of expecting like, oh yeah, these four kind of 4 or 5 different stories, they're gonna kind of come together in a meaningful way, right? At the end, and it never really does. Then you have a final boss that kind of like really has the world's worst setup. Just kind of comes out of nowhere, and yeah. As overall, like, you know, it has a lot of, it's like, if you turn off your brain and don't really think about it, it has a lot of really good, like, the music's pumping, you fucking secure you, like, punching a guy, and you're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is cool. But then if you stop thinking, like, why is this happening? Like, yeah, like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, but it's, I wanted to finish that game because, like, you know, it's the last game that came out before Yakuza 0. Which, after playing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 now, I only have 6 left for the, part 6 left for the Kiryu Saga. I only have that one left. After playing all those plus 0, I'm still saying 0 is my favorite. 0 is, to me, pretty much, at least when it comes to these kinds of games, is pretty much like the perfect game in that respect. The story is engaging as fuck. The gameplay is never really that bad. Like, you know, like the gameplay's alright. Like, you know, it's the same brawling system that you have from 4 and 5, except they simplified a bunch. Like, you know, you're no longer like shifting between like 5 characters, 4 characters. Instead, you're only shifting between 2, and like, you know, they have different fighting styles, but whatever. That just gives you more variety or whatever. And it's used in interesting ways. The story, like I said, is engaging. The characters are memorable. And yeah, it kind of feels like it has stakes in it. Whereas 5 just kind of was just like, okay, yeah, this is the. And again, not to get too much into spoiler territory, like, I know where Kiryu is, what the setup is for part 6. So I went into 5 being like, okay, like, yeah, I want to see how he gets to that point where he is at the beginning of 6, and like, you know, he never really kind of gets there. I guess it happens at the very, very beginning of 6. 5 just kind of just like, yeah, I was expecting 5 to deliver like, oh shit, things just got real, but then it didn't. And yeah, and that's my Yakuza 5 rant. My other biggest problem, and like, you know, and not to get into too many spoilers, there's a character in there that I was pretty sure that they set up to be like, yeah, she's kind of like a bad person, dude. And then all of a sudden they expect you without any real, they don't earn it, and they're just like, yeah, all of a sudden you're concerned about fulfilling this person's dream, this person that was like an asshole to your player character, and that you could see is like, oh, she's very clearly manipulating this person, these people, that like these protagonists, she's very clearly manipulative towards them. But then all of a sudden it just becomes like, hey, we have to like stop at nothing to fulfill her dream because that's what she would have wanted. And I'm just like, why? She obviously had an ulterior motive. And then they kind of draw a connection between her and like an older character in the series, but then that definitely goes nowhere. And yeah, I should do like a spoiler cast where I just talk about it and just And like, yeah, what the fuck was up with Yakuza 5? Oh well. So what are we doing here tonight? That's what I asked myself about 20 minutes ago. We're gonna draw. I got my tablet pen here, and we're gonna switch over to our art camera, courtesy of the Stream Deck. Again, brought to you by Junibug on Instagram and Twitter. Give her a follow. So this is our drawing of Catwoman. That is just, I did a little blue sketch, did a poll on Instagram saying like, hey, should I make this look like the animated series version of Catwoman or the Michelle Pfeiffer version from Batman Returns? And overwhelmingly, everyone was like, yeah, for the Batman animated series version with the gray suit and whatnot. So that's what we're doing today. I might do a variant later on where I do it the other way, but you know, that'll be for another day. So let's pick a pencil, make it a nice neutral gray, 50% gray. I have the pose already, have like a little light source kind of going there, and let me just make sure I have a nice reference of Catwoman going on my second monitor here. Yep. Alright, so let's get started. So yeah, we're just having a chill night tonight. Gonna go for a bit. I don't know how far we're gonna get tonight, but you know, it's a journey. Not really concerned too much with the destination other than knowing that we're doing a Catwoman. Not really concerned too much with destination, just with the process and the journey. As long as we get to spend time with each other. Just chilling, listening to music, complaining about shit. And this is the thing I want to complain about without, like, I don't want to get too much into details because I don't want to know details. But yeah, Spider-Man, Far From Home. New trailer out as of last night. Like, why the hell are they releasing trailers still? Like, I watched the first trailer that they released, and I think they released another one like in October at some point. But yeah, they released a trailer, but I'm just like, why? And that's like because fans were just like, release a trailer, damn it, release a trailer. And then Disney's like, okay, yeah, we'll release the trailer. Yeah, we'll give you some more content to talk about so you can do our marketing for us. Yeah, so my main thing is like, why are people like so like up in arms like, I gotta see this trailer, I need them to release another trailer for a movie you're already sold on? But you're gonna like not go see Spider-Man in theaters when it comes out? You're not gonna go see it opening day? I know I am. I'm gonna go see that like opening weekend or whatever. Like, I don't need to be sold on this movie. I am going to see it. So I don't need Disney like kind of giving me another like commercial, be like, hey, trying to convince me like, hey, you should be hyped for this movie. I know, I already am. Shit. I just want to go into it not knowing everything. That's the thing with the internet nowadays. Like, every little thing that should be like, oh my god, that's a surprise for the movie. Like, it's been spoiled for months because they're like, oh yeah, we have dudes like fucking like hanging out on set and posting spoilers and posting set photos and like, you know, and demanding trailers, and they put everything in the trailer. Like, leave some mystery for the movie, man. And that's my official old man rant for today, for the date of November 17th, 2021. That's my old man rant. The lovely thing about the animated series version of this costume is that there aren't a ton of details. It is pretty much just a gray jumpsuit. She has like black gloves, and that's it. I think the only movie that I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of want to see some of in the trailer is the Batman. Because I'm curious as to what that looks like and what they're doing different. And now that I've already seen a taste of it, I'm like, alright, I don't need to be sold on this movie anymore. Just when it comes out, I'll watch it and be surprised. I don't need to know every single detail of it out of context in order to enjoy it. Now, if you're one of those people that got excited that they released the trailer for No Way Home yesterday, I'm not judging you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, you're dumb. I'm just gonna say I don't understand. Were you not planning on seeing this movie? Did you need more convincing that you want to actually see this latest Spider-Man movie, even though you've seen every other Spider-Man movie that's come out, like the day that it came out? Did the emergence of like other Spider-Man finally be like, you know what, I was gonna skip this one, but nah, fuck that, I'm gonna watch. Just curious. Again, no judgment. I'm not like, you dumb for whatever. Like, you know, enjoy what you do. Like, I like it when people enjoy. The world needs less cynicism. The world needs more people being genuine and excited about things. My whole thing is that, like, yeah, that genuine excitedness often gets weaponized by media companies in order to become marketing for their projects. See, the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut wasn't a thing. It wasn't a real thing until Warner Brothers noted, like, hey, all these fans are fucking asking for this thing. What if we went back and revisited Justice League, just kind of recut the footage, add new footage when necessary. And then sell that back to them. Be like, hey, sign up for HBO and you can watch your Snyder Cut. We're finally releasing it. We weren't going to release it before, but now that you've said that you want it, okay. Like, nah, dude. Like, and then, like, the Snyder Cut pace, they're like, yeah, we got them to release a thing for us to spend money on. We convinced this media conglomerate to be like, hey, let us give you money. They say that as if it's a moral victory. We wanted the thing, we wanted to throw money at them, and they're finally letting us throw the money at them. They finally made the thing that we wanted. Yeah, because the assertion by the Snyder Cut people, Snyder Cut fans, is like, this movie exists as a draft or something. This movie exists out there, but the Warner didn't want to fucking do it this way, so they brought in Joss Whedon, and where in reality is like Snyder had a draft that was still going like through rewrites before they got really far into shooting. And like, you know, anyone who's worked in production can tell you, like, your plan from day one isn't necessarily the plan that you end up with when you actually execute the thing. Hell, even if you like shoot things and then, you know, stuff changes, like narratives and stuff change. It's happened to me. Like, I've worked on like 30-second openers that, like, you know, we spend months planning, and then as like you know, we have come up with different drafts, dealt with different iterations, shots, or whatever, and like, you know, sometimes we shoot more than what we need. Most of the time, like, you know, by the time we actually get around to shooting, it's changed a billion times. And I have no doubt that the Snyder Cut, you know, at some point they're like, yeah, we should do like Darkseid or whatever, but then like ultimately it was decided against because, like, you know, and you saw it in the Snyder Cut, it doesn't really fucking make sense unless it's a fucking 4-hour movie. And like, who wants to sit down and watch a fucking 4-hour movie? I didn't. When the Snyder Cut came out, I did not watch it, and I don't care to watch it because it's so fucking long. I started watching it, but then I pieced out like around the time that the freaking like creepy European girls were like singing at the camera about Aquaman. They're like, oh, Aquaman, oh, and I was just like, this thing is so far up its ass, I can't fucking enjoy this. Anyway, so the reality is that in production, things get cut for various reasons, but then you don't get hung up on it. You're just like, okay, so moving on, we made the decision to, like, you know, whatever. You don't fucking get hung up on it and be like, oh yeah, well, this version exists out there somewhere. Yeah, it existed in Zack Snyder's head, possibly in a notebook, which I guess it did. But for these people to kind of like assert or like kind of treat it as if like, well, WB has this Snyder Cut that they've been sitting on and they don't want to release it because blah, 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 and we're gonna bully them into releasing it. Nah, they're tricking you into acting like a marketing arm for them. They whipped you up into a frenzy to be like, give us the Snyder Cut, and then when they finally release something called the Snyder Cut, you're gonna line up and give them money. played, you motherfuckers. Would have been 2 hours without the slow motion. I agree. I agree that, like, yeah. Zack Snyder never met a slow motion shot that he didn't like. And like I said, I could not watch it. I could not make it. Like my brother asked me about it. He's like, "Hey, you seen the Snyder cut?" Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, I made it about like 45 minutes to like an hour in." Right until the part where, like, yeah, those girls just started singing about Aquaman at the camera. And then he's like, dude, that was like 10 minutes into the movie. I was like, oh, I didn't even make it that far. Because I knew that movie is just going to be so far up its own ass. Because, like, yeah, that first shot, like, it opens up with, like, yeah, Superman's death is heard around the world. And, like, you know, I get the gist of the shot. I guess I get the gist of the scene. It happens, like, Superman gets stabbed by Doomsday, or like he's like, and he goes like, ah, and like, you know, the same thing could have happened if you had him go like, ah, and then it like kind of like does a cut between, like, you know, it cuts to Aquaman, cuts to Wonder Woman, cuts to everyone that's around the world being like, oh shit, they turn around. That scene could have lasted 30-45 seconds and have accomplished the same thing. Instead, it is a 5 to 10 minute scene where they show Superman going, ah, and then they show the sound traveling across the land. Boom, hits Atlantis, and they're like, what? Travels across the land for like a solid like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Hits Themyscira, and they're like, what? Travels across the land, hits like the military base, the guy who's like Martian Manhunter or something. Turns around and he's like, what? They do that like 3 or 4 times in a row, and each time they draw it out and makes it super freaking long. As soon as they did that, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm in for with this. Yeah, it took him like 15 minutes to die. It should not, that scene did not. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that, like, you know, that you can't do like I'm not saying that you should never do a 15-minute cut death scene, but just the fact, like, it hits you with that, like, right out the gate, lets you know that, like, yeah, this movie's just gonna spend its entire time navel gazing and just kind of like beating you over the head with how great it is, how privileged you must be to be, how lucky you must be to be watching this movie in the year 2021. Shit, that was this year. That was 2021. That feels like it was like last year. But anyway, the only thing I will say is that, I say that a lot. The only thing I'll say, and then I go on for like a 20-minute rant. But what I've got to commend Zack Snyder for is, like, you know, he wanted this shit done and he got it done. Good on him for getting the movie that he wanted to get done. Even if I'm not a fan. Like, you know, he did the thing that he wanted to do, and that to me deserves respect. And plus, like, you know, to me, like, you know, like, it's nothing personal again. I don't like the movie that he made, but, like, you know, all around Zack Snyder, he seems like a nice guy. Like, you know, I know he's been through some shit in the last few years. Like, you know, he had a daughter that died, unfortunately, right before he could finish Justice League, and like, you know, you never wish that on anyone. As much as like these superhero movies are like, you know, whatever, like, you know, they're big media darlings, and like, you know, people like them. It's still like, you know, it's still make believe shit. Real life is real life, and he had something that affected him in real life. And that sucks. You never want to see that. So how's everything going, Captain Yasarian? How did I get started on that? Yeah, so all this was to say, yeah, I have not seen the no, I have not seen the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and I don't plan to see it anytime soon. At least not till the movie's out. Get this little WIP here. It's going all right. Cool. We're gonna switch to a darker pencil. So we're using Clip Studio Paint Pro, which I've grown to enjoy a lot more than Photoshop lately, especially when for like doing line art and pencil stuff. Yeah, I think we finally reached a point where there's like so much superhero and comic book stuff coming out. I used to feel bad about not being able to, like, it used to be stuff came out, I could easily watch it because there's like you know, there's like an X-Men movie that came out like every couple years, so I could definitely watch that. I watched every one of those. There's like 1 or 2 MCU movies that came out a year, then maybe worth like 3 or 4. Definitely keep up with those. Then it became like, oh, I can't keep up. I could keep up with most things, most of the things I like. And I kind of feel bad for, like, you know, not keeping up with the things, even if I don't like them particularly much. I should be supporting them. I felt bad for not watching things like The Flash or Green Arrow. But now we've reached a point where, like, hey, there is so much stuff out there, so much superhero and comic book stuff, TV shows, movies, animated series, or whatever, that no, I definitely can't keep up with everything, but I also do not care anymore that I can't keep up with everything. Because there's just so much stuff that I'm just watching it, and I'm just really sticking to the stuff I like. And there's such a variety out there that even if there is something out there that I'm not particularly fond of, I can skip it and not feel like, oh hey, I'm missing out on the one comic book thing. Like when Birds of Prey was on CW or WB Network, as it was known back then. And I missed a couple of episodes. I'm like, oh man, I gotta tune in because otherwise they're gonna cancel this, and then that's gonna be it for like live action Batman. And I felt guilty that I wasn't watching it. That like I would miss an episode and have people like, you know, I'd be like, Mom, record this episode of Birds of Prey for me, please. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's a bunch of women that are like in kind of like leathery costumes. Yes. Okay, yeah. Please record that for me. Yeah. But now it's to the point that I'm like, yep, I haven't watched any of the DC shows. Like any of the Arrowverse shows in like 5 years. And I completely don't care. And I'm fine with that. Like, you know, I watched the seasons of that show that I enjoyed. There are like certain seasons of the show that I enjoyed. And then past that, I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to watch anymore. It was like around like season 4 of The Flash, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this anymore, so I'm just gonna stop. Too many times that I've been traumatized by like Generation Next, which is a show on Fox Network. My Cintiq freeze? It'll do that sometimes. Because I remember when like Generation Next came out on Fox. It was like a primetime show on Fox. I even had even had action figures especially made for it, and like Jubilee and like Emma Frost were like main characters, which were like, you know, back then you're like you're watching anything X-Men related or reading anything X-Men related because you're like, hey, Wolverine. This show didn't have Wolverine in it. I was like, I gotta watch every episode of this kind of crummy show because it's the only live action X-Men that we have. Gotta keep it alive. Gotta show my support. And it is canceled anyway. That's when I decided that, like, you know, everything good in this world is just meant to be taken away from you. Alright, let's go full screen on this bad boy here. Let's cool. And this is where we're going to leave it for before the break. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break and refill my little water mug. Before I do that, I'm just going to fill this in. So when we come back, we're going to do the inks for this Catwoman, and maybe we'll get started on colors, but no promises there. And we're using Clip Studio Paint Pro. Using a Cintiq 16. Provided to me by the good folks over at CBS Sports. Shout out to them for providing this. I'm also using a Wacom Express remote. Very handy for all your little shortcuts and whatever. And shout outs to the soundboard. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a going break now. Be back in about 5 minutes. So be sure to stay tuned. I'll be right back. Selena thinks you should stay, so do it. Stay. You should get a drink too. Take a break yourself. Yep, that sound means it's midnight. So go take a break. Have an energy drink. We'll be right back. See you soon. Bye. The one thing I can't figure out how to map onto this Steam Deck is the ability to turn my mic on and off. So I still got to do that through the manual way through Streamlabs OBS, which yeah, I guess I never realized it till now, but like Streamlabs OBS is actually kind of shady. Like, I thought they were like an extension of OBS. I thought they were like, oh yeah, this is like a premium version of OBS or something with that. But no, they just took the name. According to a tweet by OBS today. So yeah, I don't like that kind of thing. So I might be switching back to OBS soon. Because I had slobs, as they call it, recommended to me by some people in my chat. They're like, oh yeah, you should be using slobs, it's kind of easier, and in some ways it is, but apparently like that functionality is also, like the functionality of things is also available in regular OBS, so yeah, I think I'll be switching back sooner than later. Just gotta figure out a way to migrate all my graphics and sound alerts and all that good stuff. So yeah, so I'm always in the market for like, you know, freelance work or just work in general. Always got to keep an ear out as to what's out there. Had my very first NFT offer today for a sportsbook company. Reached out to me. They're like, "Hey, we need someone who does 3D to come on and do NFTs. You want to do this?" And I was like, I think that was the most times if I get like a job, kind of like a proposal or something that I don't like, especially if it's like from a recruiter, I'll just kind of just ignore it or just take my time answering it, just be like, okay, yeah, no thanks, or just ignore it, whatever. It's only been 3 times in my life where I proactively, like, I don't care like what the bridge is that I burned there, that I proactively responded to the recruiter from a company to be like, lol, no. This was one of them. Today they're like, yeah, do you want to, like, you know, sign up to be like a NFT artist for whatever, blah blah blah. NFTs are the future, whatever, crypto bro fucking bullshit that they spew at artists to lure them in. And yeah, so I responded to that like, lol, no thank you, I'm good. Was my verbatim response. The only other 2 times I've done that, where I've just, like, you know, kind of shed all notions of professionalism or whatever, is when I got approached by a recruiter for Fox News and one for Newsmax. Newsmax wanted to throw me an offer about a year and change ago. So then I took that opportunity to be like, lol, no, fuck you. I don't care if that's a bridge burned or whatever. Fuck them. Yeah, if it was like someone else, like, you know, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, I would just be like, you know, I'll even do the interview just to kind of be like, yeah, even if it's a job I'm not interested in, I'll do the interview just to practice interviewing. Because as you know, as you could tell by this stream, I'm like a smooth talker, so I just need to flex that smooth talking skill. Joke, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, as you can tell, like I do have an issue, like speaking in public. That's actually what this stream is kind of about. Just kind of stream of conscious, kind of getting comfortable talking out loud, whatever. Because my wife can tell you I can fucking crack jokes in front of her. That'll make her laugh. But like in other settings, I'm a bit more reserved and shy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, public speaking is not my forte. So that's kind of like what this stream is about, to kind of help me get over that. And that's why I also take interviews for jobs that I have no intention of taking, to also help me feel more comfortable answering those kinds of questions and asking those kinds of questions, and and also just to see what's out there. There's been a couple of times where I did that, and I was just like, "You're offering me how much?" And then I went back to my day job and like, "Hey, someone's offering me this much," and then I actually got them to increase my pay. So there's that aspect to it too. So kids, don't sell yourself short. Know what you're worth. Alright, so I think we're about done with the pencils here, right? So let's knock down the opacity for this a bit. Switch to black. Go to our brush tool. We're going to use a fountain brush. So I've been working on a project for my day job that's been using this brush, and I quite like it. I've been having to do some illustration work for the day job the past couple days. And yeah, it works really well. Especially for like this particular brush. I'm using the True Grit Texture Supply Rusty Brush Set. Which was a thing that was advertised to me almost daily on Instagram. And I normally don't pay any mind to Instagram ads. But I decided for some reason to buy this brush set that was advertised to me on Instagram. And it's been working out. I like it a lot. Especially when used in, because these are actually Photoshop brushes. And you can import those into Clip Studio Paint. And they work really well. They have like a nice smoothness to them, and they have texture as well. I'm listening to this song. So during my vacation, as I mentioned before, helping my parents. My parents are moving, or they've moved already, but they have a bunch of stuff at their old place that they tasked me with getting rid of, including a bunch of furniture. I also have a bunch of old stuff there, which I was gonna bring back with. I took some of it back with me, like some like old video game stuff. But a good chunk of it I've actually sold off, including my old GameCube and like most of my GameCube games. Actually, come to think of it, I actually sold all of my GameCube games, including Super Mario Kart, a couple Mario parties, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, and Zelda Wind Waker. So yeah, so this song kind of coming on, and now it's kind of making me regret selling Wind Waker. I was like, oh man, I should have hung on to that one. But realistically, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna play those games ever again. I got rid of them. Made a bit of cash with them. Decent price. Got rid of some PS2 games, some N64 games. The N64 games I never... Those were actually gifted to me by someone. They're just like, oh hey, I got rid of my N64, you hang on to these games. So they're like a real hodgepodge of stuff. Nothing particularly valuable, and nothing particularly valuable in there, and nothing in really good shape either. But yeah, but the major things I got rid of were like my PS2 collection, most of it, and like my entire GameCube collection. Now with the news of Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition being kind of shitty, and Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 being pulled from digital storefronts, I have a launch PS3 which plays PS2 games, so I'm glad I hung on to that. Because yeah, so I hung on to those games. I hung on to Metal Gear, to the Metal Gears, and I don't have the Grand Theft Autos, but I can go and pick them up now if I like, and play them on kind of original hardware. Because those launch PS3s, they pretty much have a PS2 built into them. So it's not really emulation, it's just like, oh hey, there's a functioning PS2 in here, so it just works. Like, there is no backwards compatibility issues or like, you know, some emulation issues, because it's not emulating, it's legit hardware in there. reminder, you can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on anything really. Search the name at PXBArt, you'll find me there. So hopefully I plan on posting this tomorrow, at least. I've been slacking on posting art stuff for a while. Ugh. So yeah, so I sold a bunch of my old game collection. Not everything, but like, you know, a bunch of like games I know I'm never gonna touch again. The next thing up on my chopping block are my Xbox 360 games. I have quite a collection. I think my biggest collections of games were Xbox 360 and PS2. Because around the time I had a PS2, I was actually working at a Toys R Us during college. So, being a punk college kid with no real bills or responsibilities, I would cash in my check at the check cashing place right by work, and come back and just buy a bunch of games as soon as I got paid. And then Xbox 360. Why do I have so many Xbox 360 games? I think it's just because that generation was long. The 360/PS3 generation was just super duper long. And of that generation, like, yeah, the 360 was the first console I got. I eventually did like the perfect trifecta, like, you know, 360, PS3, and Wii. It's what we call a hat trick in the game collecting biz. You have all consoles of that generation. I don't know if that's people actually use hat trick in that context, but if not, then we're gonna start using it that way. So today, actually, right after work, I went to my parents' place and sold off a dresser to a very nice gentleman. Because the other part of that personal news of my parents moving is that I might actually be taking over their old home, so I might be purchasing that from them. So that's exciting. So part of my, like, yeah, you know, sounds like a little I guess problematic, but like, you know, part of my ulterior motive for like helping them move out stuff is that, like, you know, if I'm purchasing the house, or if I'm like, you know, get that house from them, or like, yeah, pretty much if I have an arrangement to take over that house, I need that stuff cleared out so I can move in my stuff along with my wife's stuff and kind of start fresh there. Which will be nice because it'll be a bit more room than what we have now. Which honestly, like, I can't complain about the space that my wife and I have right now. We have a 2-bedroom house that we rent in Queens with a basement and backyard for decent price. And the basement's been real handy just to kind of as a storage area and to like store my retro game stuff. My basement is where I have my Dreamcast and stuff. Dreamcast and Saturn, I have them in a little TV stand with set up with the CRT and everything. And one of these days on camera, I'll show you guys my Saturn collection and Dreamcast collection. And down there, I actually have an original Xbox that I don't know what to do with. Original Xbox stuff, like, I don't. Like, yeah, OG Xbox. It belonged to my wife. She hardly had any games for it when it was hers, when it was current. When we moved in together, she was just like, here's this Xbox, do something with it. I have not figured out what to do with it. I kind of want to see if there's mods out there that are similar to what I've done with my Dreamcast, which is install a MODE, an MODE, modular optical disc emulator is what MODE stands for. So basically I install that, it replaces the disk drive, it allows me to put a hard drive in there, and I fill that hard drive with ROMs, and the Dreamcast plays them. And it's not emulation because it's actually using original hardware to run that software, so it works perfectly so far. I have not run into any issues with the Terra Onion mode at all so far. That's not to say that there are never going to be issues. There might be one day. But I pretty much, yeah. Yeah, like every game I've played on that Dreamcast so far has worked perfectly. Especially like, you know, the big ones that you want working, like your Marvel vs. Capcoms, your Street Fighters, your Sonic Adventures, your Jet Set radios, which I'll maintain that Jet Set radio. Ugh. I really wanted to like that game. And I don't know, I think it was like a right time, right place kind of thing. Yeah, shoutouts to the people who came to pick up this huge ass wardrobe dresser thing from my parents' house tonight. It helps, and it helps clear out a whole bunch of space from there. So I'm glad to have that out of the way. It's looking pretty clean. Let's go back to the fountain brush. Did I lose it? If you'd like to support the stream, feel free to subscribe if you'd like. I don't recommend it, but you do get an emote, which is cool. Maybe I'll make this into an emote too. Just kind of cut off the head and do that. Follow always helps. Try and do another game giveaway once I hit 100 followers, so be sure to tell your friends and family to follow. Then of course there's the coffee page, ko-fi.com/pxbart. Be sure to check that out. If you'd like to support the stream financially, that is the best way to do it. Let's put that in a new layer. And we're just going to leave it like that for today. Okay. And then maybe we'll finish this up tomorrow. Add some colors, add some shading, and then we'll play some Forza. How does that sound? We've been going tonight for about 2 hours in about 5 seconds. Oh, look good on us, right? Came back to art streaming and yeah, did some art. Let's go full screen on this. Hit save. Our own Selena Kyle here. You know what we'll do? Not gonna make these black, but we're gonna make them a very dark gray. Then we're gonna do some halftone shit here. There you go. Looks a tad better, right? Somewhat presentable. Cool. Guess we're going to continue watching. So with that said, we're going to call it a night tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you tuned in live, you're tuning in the archive. Thank you very much for keeping me company tonight during this Wednesday art session, late night art session. We're going to continue this tomorrow. Hopefully. Depending on work. If I'm not super duper tired. Good night, Capitan Yusarian. Whoever you may be. Alright, so yeah, so let's finish this up tomorrow night, which I imagine is not going to take super long. Maybe we play some Forza Horizon after that. That'll be neat. Yes, I know it's Nate. Yeah, it's I was trying to keep your name under wraps, Nate. But yeah, but maybe we play some Forza Horizon. I had no idea. Of course not. It's totally not the same screen name that you use everywhere. Yeah, be sure to follow me on the Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, MySpace. I think I still have a MySpace out there somewhere with the name PXB Art. Just check that out. Most social media places have me under that name, so be sure to check that out. Coffee page is is also a thing. So if you'd like to support the stream, you can do that. You can also subscribe, which I don't recommend. Again, you get like an emote, a custom emote, but like I still need to flesh those out. So yeah, I don't recommend subscribing right now. What else? Check out the merch shop, society6.com/pxb_art. It is the only place online where I have an underscore in my name. So yeah, society6.com/pxb_art. We have t-shirts, prints, phone cases, stickers, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's. I forgot. Gotta use my stream deck here. Yep. So got this lovely stream deck, courtesy of my lovely wife. So I've been kind of controlling the stream with that. So thank you very much. I'll give myself a nice little round of applause here. Thank you. So have a good night, everyone. We're gonna fade to black now and call it a night. See you soon. Bye.